Tina. Gentlemen, as you well know, Tennessee is one of only 7 states without an income tax. However, an article by USA Today does rank Tennessee as having the second highest combined sales tax, in some cases as high as 10%. Some would argue we're not collecting as much money through the sales tax as we could because of certain sales tax loopholes on things like funerals, a percentage of car sales, raw materials, and goods. If elected governor, would you consider closing some of these loopholes as a way to generate more revenue for the state? If so, could you name some? Mr. Dean.
Well, I'm not going to say tonight that I'm going to start taxing funerals. I'll tell you that at the end of the campaign. So this may not be a profile and courage moment, but that's where I am. You know, that's where I am. Look, I think the most fundamental thing we have to look at in terms of the sales tax is the internet question. I mean, now under the new case law, we can tax internet purchases that occur within the state of Tennessee, and we ought to do that. Number one, out of basic fairness to the bricks and mortar buildings that are here, to the local people trying to sell, and we need it because we need the revenue. And so I would be in support of working on that. Again, it's not going to be popular. It's going to be one of these things where people have become accustomed to not paying sales tax, but it is certainly consistent with the way we've run our government, and it's needed to do the things that we need to do, particularly, I think, in education. We've talked about law enforcement and other things. You cannot continue to operate on declining revenue.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Mr. Lee, you want to tax funerals?
You know, I really am not a person who says that we need to be looking for opportunities to raise taxes. This internet sales tax is actually, it actually is just a tax that currently exists in sales but has never been applied because it can't be enforced. It requires self-reporting to collect those taxes through the old system. That's about to change, and so that revenue that's coming to the state is actually revenue that's been due to us, and it is going to create a revenue stream that will be more of a revenue stream, actually a revenue stream that has never been collected, but it actually is due. I don't think we ought to be raising taxes. I think we ought to be managing our budget more effectively.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. As a follow-up for both of you, as I said, the state constitution makes an income tax in Tennessee illegal. Are you both satisfied with the sales tax being Tennessee's main source of revenue, or do you think other options to lower the sales tax should be considered? Mr. Dean.
I'm basically satisfied with the sales tax being our source of revenue. I think as you branch out from there, you would have more and more problems trying to define something that would be politically acceptable. And our state, I think, has worked under this so far. I mean, the issue really becomes when you hit a recession, and the sales tax is so responsive to any economic downturn in terms of losing money. And we got to plan for that and make sure we have adequate rainy day funds.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Mr. Lee.
I think that the sales tax is the right approach. I would never advocate for, and of course it's not. We're not going to have an income tax under the current law. We shouldn't. We're a low tax state. It's one of the reasons why we're so prosperous is because we are a low tax state, and I think that stimulates economic activity in the state. It's one of the reasons we're in the place that we are. So I think the sales tax is appropriately the primary funding source for our state.
Thank you, gentlemen. Richard?
Mr. Lee, you talked